Well, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the British Association for Supported Employment launch event 2023. A big thank you to our CEO, Laura, for asking me to host today. I am looking forward to the discussion. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lee Corliss, and I'm one of the trustees of BASE. However, my day job is as head of global expansion, people and culture for Rangam Consultants. We are a minority, female and disability-owned global workforce solutions company who specialize in disability recruitment and consultancy. So if you do want to know more about how we can support your business or how we can help your candidates find supported employment, then please do come and find us at the conference or contact me through LinkedIn. At Rangam, we have built a close partnership with BASE and we are supporting the conference as one of the associate sponsors. So we really do look forward to seeing as many of you as possible at the event. This year's conference is being held on the 14th and 15th of November at the Mercure's, the Grand Hotel in Leicester, with the theme being Disability Confidence in Action. We will be running some 25 differing workshops, hosting the BASE Awards and dinner, which is always a fantastic evening, and we'll have a number of great speakers from companies and organizations such as Amazon, Coca-Cola, Mencap, DFN Project, King's Business School and Strathclyde University. To kick the conference off today and give a flavour of the types of conversations that happen at our events, we are going to be introducing you to one of the keynote speakers, Hector Minto, who is the lead accessibility evangelist for technology for fundamental rights at Microsoft. And today we will be discussing accessible technology and supported employment. However, before we get into that, let me say hello, good morning to Hector, and thank you for joining us after your trip abroad. I assume that was for work. Welcome. So looking at your job title, it really does sound quite amazing. So would you like to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about your background and that amazing job title that you've got?
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, Lee. Great to be with you. Look, my job title is a funny one. It's not great when you are applying for car insurance, if I'm honestly. It's like nobody really knows what it is. But essentially, my job is to influence our field organization across the world. You know, when we think about the people who are out there deploying and selling technology for Microsoft around the world, to make sure that we're having a conversation about people with disabilities, using our products and building accessibility into kind of the experiences that industries are building across the world. My background is all in assistive tech. So last 28 years, I've worked in assistive technology, working with people with disabilities with their technology. But now I'm moving to Microsoft. The job is now to get industries, employers, governments around the world to leverage assistive technology and make sure that we're building the experiences of people with disabilities into the technology we use every day.
Absolutely fantastic, and great to hear that Microsoft are trying to lead the way in doing that, because we do need people and companies like Microsoft to do more, particularly in encouraging governments to see the way forward. So that's really good.
I say, Lee, just quickly. I mean, that's actually one of the things I learned most when I took this job on. I mean, for all of you, and I'm going to say heroes working, with people with disabilities, with their technology on a daily basis. It wasn't until I got to Microsoft that we managed to kind of bring people to the table to have the conversation at the kind of the higher level. So we're convening people, governments, big brands, the tech sector. When we think about Microsoft as a company, kind of people think of us as Xbox and Office and Windows, and we are. But it's also people are building technology with Microsoft every day, and the whole tech sector needs to get talking about inclusion and accessibility. All the time I felt kind of my first 20 years of my career, I was kind of working with people in the communities with technology, but nobody at the kind of the building stage was having the conversation about building these experiences in. And I think that's the era that we're now moving into. What are the banks doing to build these experiences in? What are government digital services doing to build this stuff in? These are exciting times.
Yeah, and really a good segue then, because I can see you're passionate about it. But what actually did ignite your passion in technology, and more specifically, how technology can be used to improve accessibility?
So honestly, individuals. I came out of university I'm a chemist by training, Lee. So maybe I kind of enjoyed the science side of things, the problem solving side of things. I used a lot of technology at university and things, but until I was working with people with disabilities in a sales role with the emerging first early assistive technologies, honestly, I think when you get into this topic, it's difficult to leave.
Yeah.
You're building bespoke solutions around people and helping them kind of unlock access to something. Uh, that is always interesting. Helping somebody design their system and tweaking it for them, and seeing the impact that it has on somebody is pretty addictive, if I'm honestly. And then more and more technologies came out in the last 25 years. Every time that new technology came out, I was jumping across to the company that was like using the most cutting edge technology. So I kind of went from switch technology to voice technology to eye gaze technology, and now to Microsoft. So like I would say that my passion comes from seeing what emerging technologies do for people with disabilities, and being the person who can be at the forefront of that storytelling and landing the message with communities. That's exciting. But to summarize, that one experience you have with somebody applying a piece of technology and just seeing the difference it makes, that's really where the passion comes from.
And that's really the so what of all of this, isn't it? The difference that it makes to those people's lives to be able to go into the workplace and be able to deliver a job just the same as everybody else, but they might need that little bit more support. And I think most people as well who are watching this or are going to be at the event can really relate to that passion that you spoke about of once you start helping individuals and seeing what that unlocks within them, and that they're able to bring their whole selves to work or to whatever it is they're doing in life, it is massively addictive.
Yeah, and my passion is changing a little bit now towards the stakeholders, the new stakeholders who will help people access these technologies. So for most of my career, I was always kind of reaching a specialist, and that specialist would then kind of help do the assessment and help do the technology. I think we're moving into an era more so now where a much wider group of stakeholders will become the specialist, because these technologies are mainstream and because there's such a huge demand for it. So I'm really excited about the project with Base, because I think we're going to reach more people. I think more of you watching this will become technology experts within the next 10 years and be the people, doing what I've been doing for 20 years, just tweaking people's technology and supporting them, not waiting for a specialist techie to come in and do it, but you'll be the ones adapting the phone settings, adapting the PC settings, and kind of helping somebody with that situation.
Yeah. So what do you think then are still the barriers that currently exist for businesses to use this type of assistive technology? Why are we why are we still finding the need for that, you and the I, to really push these people along and really see the benefits? Why do you think that still exists?
Um, it's awareness is the simple answer, and discoverability, and knowing what's possible. So obviously that goes back to the awareness side of things. So traditionally, I would say that many people who would benefit from assistive technology have not been working in white collar roles, administrative roles. We've seen more people working in kind of frontline roles, service roles. The more that technology is moving into different arenas, we're seeing there's more of a kind of a demand for people to know more about the adaptions and the assistive technology built in. So it's really awareness. I also think just the stakeholders in the business and who does this is not clear for many organizations. So, you'll meet an HR person who's helping, place somebody in a role, but they don't know about assistive technology. And then you'll get to the IT people, and the IT people are kind of going, well, I just put the technology out there. I don't amend it for you. I don't adapt it for you. I just deploy it. So I think what we're starting to see is more of a need for different roles within the business to kind of see this as their responsibility and not move away from it. I meet a lot of D&I folks, right? In businesses, and I'm constantly saying to them, you need to be more techie. You might like the human impact side of things and having the high level conversation about diversity and inclusion and people kind of being included, and the need for us to kind of remove our unconscious bias. And that's all super important. But I also need you to be able to hit Control Plus and magnify something for somebody if they can't see it. Yeah, you don't get away with not knowing simple technology hacks that will allow somebody to be included in this experience. You're not allowed to know, you're not allowed to not know that there are captions in a Teams meeting. That's just not acceptable nowadays. You've got to start picking up that tech baton and start saying, actually, I do need to know this. So new stakeholders, various stakeholders, maybe people just not taking responsibility for their part of this. And again, I go back to this convening power that we have as Microsoft, or responsibility that we have as Microsoft. We're getting into all these different rooms in businesses, from the CIO to the CTO to the CHRO. We're saying to them at a very high level, this is on you as well. You don't get to ignore disability inclusion, because the bit that you deliver within the business, that's going to unlock a lot of that opportunity for people as well.
Yeah, and that kind of really segues and answers a lot, really, of the next one is, how do we really then inspire more companies to start thinking about the use of assistive technology in their day-to-day business technologies, or when they're designing products that, if you spoke earlier about finance, how do we encourage banks to make things more accessible for more of their clients to be able to use a bank? We all know 25% of the population have neurodiverse conditions, so they're hidden conditions. Yep. You walk into a bank. I'm autistic, I'm dyslexic. So I walk into a bank and I don't want long, complicated forms. I want assistive technology. They don't actually want us to walk into a bank anymore. They want us to use technology. So how do we encourage them then?
Yeah, so just on banking, I think you've almost just described it, in that they don't want us to go into the branches anymore. They want us to use the digital form of this, but if they're going to make us use the digital form, that better be accessible, and that better have options built into it to allow me to be able to access that. Because on a Monday morning, the people queuing up at the bank are the people who need a little bit of extra human support, that want to meet somebody, a teller in the bank, and have that conversation. As society becomes more digital, also, if we start looking at all jobs starting to ask us to use digital tools, if you're working in construction nowadays, you're going to be asked to jump on your phone and use an app to fill in forms and things like this. That's all going to be part of the norm moving forward. The more that we digitally transform, absolutely, there's much more of an onus on the technology having options and being accessible, because many of the humans are being removed from the loop in that sense. So how do we get them to take this seriously? Well, partly it's going to be regulation. We should never. We should embrace regulation that supports including people. So let's say that from a starting point. But I think it's also kind of understanding what's possible to build into systems. So I always say to people, we live in a world where technology can speak, can hear, can think increasingly. As technology can do all of those things, we've got to build those experiences into the technology that we build. If you look at education software nowadays, it's kind of absolutely understood that education software can read to you, right? It's like, you click the play button and it reads. But when you go in to sign your mortgage contract, where does somebody say, well, let's just press play and let you listen to the terms and conditions? Because they've not built it in. They've not built that into that experience. There's an absolute understanding that if you're in education, you need that. But the minute we go into the real world, these things disappear. I'm telling you now, Lee, it's coming. Yeah, it is absolutely coming. Yeah, the industries are starting to say to us, how do we build these experiences in? And we're making it easier and easier, because people are building in the cloud. They're not building on a CD-ROM for you to install a piece of software. When you're using products nowadays, you're using them online. The minute you're using products online, things like Read Aloud and all these other things, they're just there. They're there in the ether, and you're just calling on these tools and services and applying them to the experience. How do we get more buy-in to this? Well, you've called this this section, the right section. Disability confidence is how you get there. I work with the government, the UK government, on the disability confidence scheme. I sit with the other business leaders, consistently saying to them, you're not allowed to say you're disability confident nowadays without applying that layer of technology. You just cannot do it. You've got to start saying that technology plays a role in people's lives. And as part of being a disability confident organization, you should be having a conversation with your employees with disabilities, of which every employer has people with disabilities in their mix. Yeah. And you should be saying, how can I help you with the technology you use? From there, your learning will kind of bubble up through your organization to this recognition that actually you've got to start building this into your products and your experiences. We're getting there. I promise you, this is so much better than it was 10, 15 years ago. We're starting to see organizations of all sizes in all geographies start to recognize this and start to increasingly build these things in.
And I think we definitely are seeing it. And when we talk about the UK government and the disability confidence scheme, they really are re-looking at that re-engineering and seeing how that scheme from a government perspective can really push that agenda out to our employers to say, hey, it's not a tick box exercise anymore to be disability confident. The world is changing. It changes every day. You need to change with it. And if you're going to be disability confident, we're going to push you to do more of that. So it really is great to see and hear so much work going on, which is fantastic. I mean, the next generation, my concern is with technology, like everybody else is. Although I work in technology, sometimes I'm a bit of a technophobe. But I love it when you get a piece of software or you get a piece of equipment that really helps and enhances my life. I just think, wow, where was this when I was at school? This would have been great. I would have done better at school if I'd have had this and all of that. So great. So let's really then move into, so tell us a little bit more around those products. And I know you've got a little bit of a demonstration set up. So talk us about more of what the products currently have at Microsoft. Maybe look at the top 5 features. I know you don't want to give too much away about the total training session, but I think you're going to give us a little bit of a demo.
Well, maybe just to preface that, we've been working with BASE for the last year now on launching a training platform on assistive technology as part of the digital transformation of BASE. So we're really excited that this training is going to be increasingly available to more work coaches in the UK and beyond. I really do feel like the partnership we have with BASE is something that we can start to replicate across the globe. But it started from this premise that people need to know the basics. They absolutely need to know the basics. And we've just come off a project with the DWP, the Department for Work and Pensions here in the UK, where we've trained 26,000 work coaches on these mainstream tools. So yeah, I think it's really important that people kind of, as I say, take this responsibility to become a bit more techie and just know that what's possible. I always say when we start showing things, try not to worry about which keys I press. Try to remember the impact, or try to remember what happened. We can always help you find how to get back to it, but it's much more about knowing what's possible. So I'll just go to my my browser. This is the BASE website. Most people don't realize that every single bit of text on the internet can be read to you. And this is also available on your phones. So if you put the Microsoft Edge browser on your phone, you'll have these features available to you as well. And I think that's also an important part of that whole employment scenario, is the phone is this tool that goes around with you at all points, right? For many people. But here we are on the web. Anywhere that I'm on the web, I can actually click or right click on my text, and you'll see an option to read aloud the web. That's amazing. I mean, so just basically that on its own means this will read this website to me, and it reads it with highlighting. So I'll press play and we'll stop it in a moment.
Supported employment has been successfully used for decades as a model for supporting people with significant disabilities to secure and retain paid employment.
Okay, so just that on its own is available on every website in the world. In the workplace, just imagine just being able to sit with somebody who's got literacy challenges, who's struggling to read text, follow instructions, and you can just give them that independence to sit and listen to instructions. That's available as long as anything's available on the web. That will also work for PDFs. If I close this, we also have an option here to enter what's called the immersive reader. And the immersive reader takes this to another level completely. So we'll see this website change in a moment as I click this. And this takes us into a simplified version. You'll see all the noise has disappeared. And from here, you can start to do things like change your text size, put larger gaps between the words, show the dyslexia-friendly fonts. These are the Erlang color fonts that you'll be familiar with. People put an acetate over paper to support with reading. This is the digital equivalent of that, where we essentially apply these colors. From there, you can also start to focus on particular lines of text, and you can also translate into your preferred language. Yeah, so all of these different languages are available for this text to be changed. And if I just choose something like Swedish here and translate the page, you'll see now I've translated this page into somebody's preferred first language. And when we click read aloud here,
unsupported employment. Unsupported employment.
Just wait for this to get in some proper Swedish.
Supported employment har använts framgångsrikt I årtionden som en modell för att stödja personer med.
Okay, so what you see here is we essentially went from just somebody's website and then took it into a completely different view with different colors, different spacing, different language, and immediate read aloud through these voices. It's instant. And immediately just everything just becomes much more accessible for people. So on reading, this is just everywhere. So you'll see this in Word, you'll see this in email, you'll see it in OneNote. OneNote's a really good app for this kind of experience. It's that clipping tool essentially, where information just gets put into kind of a digital binder. All of this information becomes readable to people. So just on reading, that's a really good starting point for people. Just remember this thing called the immersive reader built into all Microsoft products. And other things, just to get some demos done here. The other thing that people don't know is that Windows computers now have captions everywhere. So if I just go back to my home screen here, and right down here, next to your Wi-Fi in a modern computer, is accessibility. One of the things we're trying to do is bring more of this technology to the front or make it more discoverable. So people used to have to kind of know these things existed and go and find these tools. Now what we're saying is, when you're checking for your Wi-Fi or your Bluetooth connection or changing your screen brightness or your volume, you might hopefully discover some more of these accessibility features. The ones I would bring to your attention, live captions. Live captions is unbelievable now. And essentially what this does is it brings this box onto my screen anywhere and creates, if I just open up my microphone on here, just creates a live captioning file directly on my computer. So essentially any meeting that you're in, you can be sat with a laptop. There's also options available for you on your phone, but essentially you can just open up your laptop on your desk and sit it next to somebody, and then somebody who's deaf or hard of hearing will have this going off the whole time. This also just captions any video or any audio playing on your device. You could play Radio 4 on here, Lee, and it would be giving you live captions on the radio. It works amazingly quickly. It also works offline. So essentially, you don't even need to worry about your internet connectivity to be able to get this going. That's built into modern computing. So we've done one on reading, we've done one on hearing. The other thing to know is about things like magnification. So Windows key plus gives us full magnification of the Windows environment. So you'll see here, we've just magnified this right out. I can go Windows +++ right down to really highly magnified content on a Windows computer. And then I can have stuff read aloud to me while magnified. Windows Escape will take me back there. So just to give you a sense of that, if I, as a professional, know how to help somebody with their reading, know how to help somebody with their hearing, how to help somebody with their vision. The last one I would say maybe is your writing. So if I open up Notepad on here now, close my captions for a moment and press Windows key H on my computer, you'll see here on my PC that I can just speak directly onto my computer and type with auto punctuation happening all the time on the PC here. So here I am with BASE today, talking about the power of assistive technology and everything it can do to empower people with disabilities into the workplace. Okay, so this is standard on a Windows computer now, for you to be able to write and type your words into a PC. If we get a moment later, Lee, I'm going to go into a different demo on Reading Coach, which I think is also worth seeing. I just need to quickly set that one up. But I'm hoping that's a really easy first summary. We've done reading, hearing, vision, writing, all of it really easy to do, just pressing a few keys on your on the desktop of your PC.
Yeah, and if you don't mind finding that while I'll fill in a bit of the gap there. But I've already just learned one or two things that I'm going to be using and how easy it is to bring on. And I'm instantly going to be able to take this back to my wife. So my wife struggles now with typing. She's got problems with her hands, and this will be great technology for her to use in her email. A lot of her emails, where she used to in the past want to say a lot, now she has to keep it very short because the pain it causes in her hand. This is going to be fantastic for her to be able to do that, and she so loves her writing and has had to step away from that for a long time. So I'm going to be over the moon of really being able to use this kind of show her how to use this kind of technology. So if nothing else, I've learned something great today, so I hope everybody else has as well.
And you're not installing anything. And I think that's the other thing for the workplace, is that if the minute you go into a workplace and you say, can we install another piece of software for me to be able to have this, this capability, that can put some employers off. And it shouldn't. Yeah. People should be willing to put software on their devices. But the fact that it's so built into trusted mainstream products does make it easier for people to at least get started. We say to a lot of people, they may have different tools that they prefer. So they might, if we look at dictation and just writing into Word here or writing into Office, there may be something, a better product like Drag and Dictate is a really popular one that that people use and has a lot more features built into it that really allow you to customize the experience. But just to get started, it's really important that you have something. Right, I'm just going to hang on, so I'm going to show you something really magic. This is actually something brand new. Like, nobody in the world has this. This is businesses are just testing this out there in the wild for the first time. This is Copilot that's being built into all Microsoft products, so artificial intelligence. So here I'm in a document here, and I'm drafting with Copilot a Word document. So I want instructions on how to clean the office space. I'll generate that text. Okay, you really are seeing the cutting edge here, Lee. This is brand new, and I wasn't thinking about how to do this morning, but here we go. So this is writing a document all for us on how to clean office space, which is unbelievable. That we have this built in.
Well, I'm already liking this as a HR, and I have to write all our processes and procedures, so I can now type in, write me a process, and I can make it look like this 10-page document is all my own work.
This is spectacular, I have to say. But also think about this for people with physical disabilities as well. So it's physical disabilities, neurodiversity, dyslexia, all these things, okay? But here we have some text. And the bit that I want to show you is if I view and go into the immersive reader. Remember we said earlier about the immersive reader being kind of this product that's available everywhere within Microsoft products. So this is where I can change those colors. So I'll put it into a nice dyslexia-friendly font here, color background. But there's a new option here called Reading Coach. Okay, so I'm going to get going with Reading Coach. Close this down. And I'm going to start reading. Okay, now as I read this, it's counting me in. Introduction. Cleaning the office space is not only a matter of hygiene, but also of productivity and well-being. Okay, so you'll see I did a standard demo there. But what you'll see here is it gives me a reading report of my accuracy, the time spent reading, the words per minute. I think there's something gone a little bit wrong with the accuracy there, but we'll go back to that. And then I can go into my practice words. And you'll see, of course, one of the words it gave me was
Practice
productivity.
makes progress.
That I should
Select
practice on
any word to keep
within
growing
this.
your skills.
And as I click on here,
When
it
you're
will give
ready,
me
press the microphone and read the word out loud.
the option to hear the word.
Productivity.
And if it was supported, it would also give me a picture for this word as well. So this is allowing people to practice their reading in the workplace. I know there are lots of different work programs where people are working with their literacy with staff in the workplace, people who don't speak English as a first language. This reading coach and reading practice built into standard Word now. So yeah, this is really, really brand new. These are the sorts of tools that are now making, I would say they're kind of making their way out of education, where they were really obviously appropriate, and now are going to be more routinely available to people in the workplace.
And again, that's another fantastic tool, because we know in the workplace we don't always have a coach all the time that we're in work. They're doing their own work. This allows you to continue to keep learning, keep being able to do your work without that coach by your side, because you have now a virtual coach helping you. So that technology really helps people develop quicker in the workplace. Normally that would mean that they would need a lot more time with somebody. So again, back to that disability confident and employers having confidence in using this type of technology, all of a sudden you're not having other staff's productivity interrupted because you've now got this virtual support.
And that's also better for the employee. So if I go back to the first demo of just literally right click, read aloud, I want as an employer to allow my employee to sit and read the latest instructions or read whatever document I'm asking them to read. But I also, as an employee, want to be able to just do that on my own. You know, I don't necessarily need somebody to be sat next to me. And if I can learn these skills in the workplace, they're also going to impact me on life. You know, they're also going to mean that, you know, everything at home is a bit easier for me as well. So do remember, these are not workplace products. You know, these are consumer products. And actually, we haven't mentioned the phone today, but so much of what I'm showing you right now is also available on people's phones. You know, things like the read aloud, things like the OneNote, the dictation in, these are available on your phone as well. So hopefully what we end up with are more confident employees with disabilities leaning into their technology a bit more, yeah, and employers feeling, I don't have to spend, you know, I don't have to spend inordinate amounts of more time with this person in supporting them in their role if I can just sit them with some technology and show them some of these skills. I don't want to, but just to be super clearly, humans are always going to play, you know, a key role in empowering people in the workplace. You know, we don't want to envision a world where people just put headphones on and they're sat at a desk all day. Yeah. But I do think, you know, work should be where you learn some of these skills. And I think many people with disabilities are missing out on stuff like this because they're not in the workplace. And so as a society, we need to sort of see work helps keep us fresh on technology, and that helps keep us fresh in terms of our independent living and all of those other kind of skills that we're trying to encourage in this population. Just a quick story. Yeah. While I was at a job fair in Liverpool, you know, we did doing some work with the DWP, and we as Microsoft rocked up at this inclusive hiring conference, and I met a work coach. And she was walking around, and there was a guy with hearing aids in that she was supporting, who came up to the booth, and literally I just showed them the live captions in Windows, and all jaws just dropped. It was like, you're telling me that's in like a standard computer? And it was just like, yes. And you know, the fact that somebody who's deaf, hard of hearing does not know that these things are available, that's a challenge to Microsoft. You know, we've got to work harder to make these things more discoverable, because you know, it's awful. It's the only word I can use, that situation exists where somebody is constantly struggling when something was literally just a button away. So yeah, this is the challenge. This is the challenge.
It is a big challenge on that education piece, educating not only employers but the people that are also going to be attending the conference, the people who are supporting people to find work, being able to give them that independence, because it's back to what you said, human interaction is always going to happen in the workplace. You know, we always find that even though we are now moved back to more of a hybrid model with workspaces, more comes from collaboration in the office now and again. And this independence, this being able to independently learn and have that confidence, means that people are coming into those interactions much more confident. And that's what this is about, is empowering that individual to bring their whole self into the workplace or whatever they're going to do in life, and feel that confidence when they do it. And confidence comes from that self-achievement as well. If you've really done something and you've done it by yourself, that you've got that more, it just helps you walk through and into that meeting a little bit more confident, I've always found.
But this is why we're here. Why we're partnering with Base is we are not going to be the ones that deliver this message. We're actually working with some of the high street retailers to make some of their staff more confident in how to demo some of these features. But again, that's probably not where somebody's going to get their learning from. Work coaches are such an important part of society. Work coaches helping with support employment are really doing an amazing job out there. But Microsoft's features are still not landing. Modern, and not just Microsoft, all technology features for accessibility and assistive technology, they're not landing with the right people. And this is why this partnership with Base is so critical. Our ambition and our hope is really that an army of work coaches get educated this year, and suddenly people do just start clicking that single button in the workplace and going, wow, that will help. That's really the aim.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, we don't want to give too much away of, like we said earlier, the training course. So for those of you who are really interested and want to learn more, clearly you've got the opportunity, if you're coming to the conference, to seek Hector out and ask a few questions. But more importantly, do contact Laura and the team at Base if you're really interested in getting this training delivered. It sounds amazing, and you should all get on board. I've learned so much in the last 10-15 minutes that I think I need to go and jump on one of those courses as well. So let's just as we move towards the end of our time, let's just go back to that conference itself. So can you tell me why Microsoft are keen to be involved with Base this year?
Yeah, so we have a global bridge the disability divide ambition. So as Microsoft, I work for our technology for fundamental rights teams. So essentially, we're sitting across things like legal justice, access to education, human rights, and accessibility sits within this team. So our ambition is, we don't essentially have a sales quota. This is our corporate responsibility division within the business. And we're super focused on, as you say, bridging this disability divide using our technology to do so. So we've been working on kind of the core accessibility of our products, and we work with our engineers, but education and skilling is really our ambition. So we have an ambition to train 2 million people this year and every subsequent year on accessibility. As we do that, the stakeholders change. And so my ambition this year, as we sort of got chatting with Laura and the team at Base, was like, we take the work of the DWP with the work coaches at the DWP in the job centers having this knowledge, but we now need to get out there, into the actual workspaces and make sure that people are leveraging technology to support them with their employment and skilling journey. And so see this as part of a much bigger global agenda of Microsoft's to essentially reach more people on accessibility. The UK is a special place, and I will, it's not just because I'm British, it's not just because the Chief Accessibility Officer at Microsoft is British either, but Britain does have a certain confidence around employment and disability that I would just say is quite special, as in we've got 23,000 companies signed up to Disability Confident. We've always done inclusive hiring to some extent in the UK. We've never really contemplated sub-minimum wage in the UK. I know that's probably an overreach, but you understand what I'm saying. It's like there's always been this recognition that people with disabilities should be in paid employment in the UK. So I do think we've got this great environment for us to kind of show what the new best looks like. And then we're going to map that out across the world. So I'm looking at the work we've done with DWP, the work we're doing with Base, reaching professionals with this knowledge, and really from there what we want to do is take that global and go to the equivalents within the world, the equivalent organizations in the world in terms of government, but also within the third sector to support people into employment around the world.
Fantastic, great. And I guess Just for a final question, what is it that you personally are looking forward to most at the event, and what are you hoping to take away from it?
Yeah, so I really want to meet work coaches. Okay, so I want to know that we're getting it right. Okay, and please don't feel that this is any kind of finished product, both in terms of our own products, but also in terms of the training. We're putting the training out there, but where you think we need to kind of be putting more focus, or where you think we're over-indexing, whatever you want to feed back to us, please make sure you do so. So, absolutely come and grab me over coffee, have that conversation with me. But we think we've got a good idea about what we're trying to do. Please don't feel that that we're not listening, though. If you think that there's other things that we should be doing and where other areas we should be putting our focus on, absolutely let us know.
Fantastic. I hoping that does open up a lot of conversations for you. I think after this, you might have to find a few corners to hide to get a few 5 minutes spare at the conference. So again, thank you very much for today. That is about all the time we have. So firstly, thank you, Hector, for sparing the time today. And I really do hope that you all get the opportunity to meet him at the event. But having just heard that, I think there might be some long queues wherever you find Hector standing. Rangam and the team will also be there, so please come and visit our exhibit and talk to the team and how we can support. And who knows, you might be able to even bag yourself some great merchandise, if nothing else. But I really hope that the conversation around all of the stands and everything that you see and over those 2 days will really help you and help individuals and help companies move forward. So I do look forward to seeing you all there in Leicester.